Hey, what's going on, everyone? Back with another knife overview. Today we're going to be looking at the Hinderer Jurassic. This one is going to be in the Battle Black finish. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Hinderer Jurassic, I know I sure as hell wasn't. This is Hinderer's attempt to kind of bridge the gap between the 3-inch XM-18 and the 3.5-inch XM-18. I've definitely owned quite a few Hinderer knives in my day. They never stick around very long, but my latest being an XM-18 that I ended up passing on just because I didn't like a few things about it. You can watch my video on the XM-18 if you keep scrolling down through my videos. And then I was also given the opportunity to test out the Hinderer XM-24, which Devin let me borrow. So we're gonna take a look at this, kind of give my thoughts on it, and yeah, I don't really know what disposition of this knife is gonna be for me. I don't really know if I'm gonna hold on to it. This is the box that it comes with. Obviously, this little triangle thing looks like a pawn shop logo, so that denotes the tri-way pivot system which Hinderer provides. So stock, this will come with bearings, but they also include in the box, as typical with Hinderers in this day and age, they'll actually give you a couple sets of washers if you do want to slow down the action. Other than that, just a normal Hinderer cardboard box. So with that, we will jump into the stats. So this Hinderer Jurassic, I have to say it was kind of funny to me, or nerve-wracking, in that, doing a very cursory Google search, every site has a different interpretation of the weights, the lengths, everything like that. So I just went off of Hinderer's website, but it was kind of weird to me. I've never seen such a disparity in, primary knife sellers aside from the actual manufacturer. I don't know why it isn't just like a copy and paste, but with that, the overall length of the Hinderer Jurassic is going to be 7.8 inches. The blade is going to be 3.375 inches, and compare that to an XM-18, which has a 3.5-inch blade. Closed, you're looking at 4.5 inches. Again, the XM-18 being 4.75 inches. The weight on this is going to be 5.5 ounces. And the interesting thing about the weight of this is it's only 1/10 lighter than the XM-18. So the XM-18 is 5.6 ounces. So that's kind of curious. I'm not sure where they make up the weight with this one since it is a smaller blade. This version that I have is going to be in CPM 20CV, which is synonymous with M390. This one's going to feature G10 and titanium handles. So you have a titanium, so full titanium clip side, and then you're gonna have a G10 covered show side, but it is a full frame titanium knife, similarly to the XM-18, XM-24, etc. This does have a titanium clip on it. It's going to be your typical Hinderer frame lock. As far as carry options go, this is going to be left or right hand tip up carry, so they do give you that option as well as provide you with a plug for whichever side you're not using. So the MSRP on this one is going to be $465. Before we get into my observations, I will make a few comparisons. So the Hinderer Jurassic as compared to the Spyderco Spidey Chef, very similar in size to the Spidey Chef. You can see that the Spidey Chef obviously just being a hell of a lot lighter. And then the Jurassic as compared to a Strider SNG, looks like that. And then finally, the Jurassic next to a Chris Reeve large Sabenza 31, looks like that. So we're gonna get into my my thoughts, impressions of this knife, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, my first impression of this knife obviously was this battle black or battle worn finish on here, which I have to say I'm not a fan of. You can kind of think of this as like a stone-washed DLC, and I'll try to post a few pictures here while I talk, but they try to make it look like distressed almost, but it's only distressed on the edges and also like on the flipper tab. There's a little bit of, you can see it's shiny there. Well, we'll kind of get to why I think Hinderer did that, but I don't historically like things that are relict from the factory kind of thing. I don't really understand the distressed look of this. It's a little bit confusing to me, but you can get the Hinderer Jurassic that's not in this battle black finish. This is the one that I ended up getting because I traded for it. The next observation that I had with this knife was, and I was actually getting kind of mad looking at this thing. So if you look at the backspacer here, and I'm not very familiar with Hinderer knives, their innovations, etc., but there's actually a little like Allen key in here, and it pissed me off at first because I was like, why are they throwing more things on here? But this is the Hinderer Modular Back Spacer System, or HMBS. Kind of looks like a set screw in there, but what this gives you the ability to do is, it's so that you can, for instance, like a J2H backspacer that is, fairly common in Chris Reeve knives. It allows you to make this modular, the backspacer, whether you want to put a lanyard there. They've also had talks of a glass breaker, maybe. I don't know, but the whole point of that is so that you can, a bottle opener, that was another one. I thought that was kind of funny. It was like, for all you alcoholics out here, you're gonna love this HMBS. But I don't know. The whole point of it is so that you can change out what the fun thing you have on the back of your knife is, whether you like to match your lanyard to your outfit, whatever. It lets you change that without taking the entire knife apart. So not really a thing that I'm interested in. Again, I don't like lanyards, and I feel like this knife already has a really big handle, so I'm gonna be honest, I don't really see the point of it. The next observation that I had upon kind of taking a closer look at the hardware on this knife is, I just kind of wrote, I was like, bring your tools when you start messing with this. This has, and wait for it, 5 different tools you will need to take this thing apart. So bear with me here. So on the scales, these are going to be Torx bit heads, right? The pivot, you have a flat head. If you want to switch out the pocket clip, that's going to be a Phillips head. If you want to switch out the backspacer system, that's going to be an Allen key. And then to actually work the pivot, you're going to need that spanner. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different tools you need to disassemble this knife. That just seems so crazy to me. It actually kind of made me mad. I was like, man, like I don't know. That's kind of a weird thing, unique to this knife. I've never seen a knife that has required so many tools to take it apart. All right, I'm gonna try to blast through some of these other observations just because I don't want this to go on too long. But the other kind of observation that I had was just the naming convention of this. So obviously you have the XM-18s, the 24s, you got the 3-inch XM-18, the 3.5-inch XM-18, XM-24 is the bigger one. Why? Then they went with the Jurassic with this one, but they're trying to bridge the gap between the small blade and the large blade of the XM-18. This one, by all accounts, is smaller than the XM-18, so why didn't they just subtract 6 from the 18? This should be called the XM-12, but it's not. It's called the Jurassic. I don't really get why they switched up the naming convention, but that was just my word of advice. Like, keep it consistent, because it was definitely kind of confusing. I was like, where does this fit into the lineup? And then I had to go to the website and actually read. The next observation that I had was this has a very stiff detent, and it could just be because it's not broken in, but I have had newer XM-18s before that have not been like this, and I'll try to make it so you can hear it, but you almost have to like grab this and you'll hear like a clicking. I don't know if you can hear that, sorry. Oh, yeah. But I mean, this thing like really sticks, so much so that the thumb studs or the blade stop on this are like useless. Like, I mean, this thing is like grabbing onto the blade. It's not smooth at all. It doesn't even feel like it's a round, like, see, it doesn't even feel like it's a ball that's holding this blade in. And you really have to get on this flipper tab to make it actuate. And I was confused. That was actually another one of my observations, was just how big the flipper tab is on here. But like, you almost need it to overcome the detent, and I don't really like that for a knife that the tolerances aren't, it's not like a Chris Reeve where the tolerances are so tight. Like, this is running on bearings, but they still made this detent like suck this thing in. I've never felt a detent like that. So maybe it'll loosen up, maybe it won't. It was definitely just one of my observations. So moving right along. The next observation that I had was just the full-size pocket clip they went with. This is going to be a full-size Hinderer pocket clip. It is made out of titanium, but I was surprised. I thought, I was like, man, I have this in the bag. Like, this pocket clip's huge. It's going to be annoying. The ergonomics on this are the best I've ever felt from Hinderer, and there are no hot spots. I thought for sure with just the sheer size of this clip that I would be annoyed, but it really kind of conforms to your hand. I cannot hate on it too much, and I thought I was going to hate it. All right, the next observation that I had was I really do like the blade thickness on this. It's not overly thick at all. I didn't think that I would like it when I saw pictures of it, but it actually does seem more slicey than my Spanto XM-18. And the one thing that you just can't get around though is the blade is definitely small for the handle size. So certainly the ratios are off here, but honestly, it doesn't feel stubby, and I'm one of those people that like kind of really good blade to handle ratios. I can't really complain about this one. It feels really nice in my hand and very like wieldy, not stubby or stupid. So pretty interesting. The last observation that I had was the jimping. For a Chris Reed, for a Rick Hinderer knife, this has some of the worst jimping, and it's not intense at all, and it actually falls underneath where the scale is. So, you know, if you look at a more traditional knife, the jimping will kind of bump up a little bit to give your thumb some real estate. This isn't even, it's not even flush. Like, it's actually flush with the top of the jimping. So all you really have for bite is this like 1/4 inch right here. And I think that that's kind of curious. In my experience, like, I mean, Rick Hinderer loves his jimping. Usually it's just like, oh, you want a reverse grip? We'll put jimping back here. We'll put it here. We'll put it down here. Like, that's not the case here. Like, they definitely, I don't know if their jimping machine was out of service. No, I'm just kidding. But they did not put much jimping at all, and that really surprised me. All right, and that concludes my overview of the Rick Hinderer Jurassic in Battle Black. All in all, I do like the Jurassic more than the XM-18 and 24. I think it's super comfy. It doesn't feel so overbuilt or clunky like the latter models. It's definitely expensive for what you get. I think, again, at a $465 MSRP, these are also sold out. But, you know, people that love their Hinderers will love this knife. I don't really understand the battle black finish. To me, it just kind of makes the knife look used and like relict, but not in a good way. Like, I would understand if they put, you know, scratches all over it, made it look worn, but where it's worn is very weird. Like, it's so subtle that you, like, it just looks like it was riding in your pocket for a while, which maybe people are into that, but I don't know. But, you know, if you're a person who has anxiety over the first scratch or wear, like, fear not. Hinderer took care of it for you with this finish. Like, it will look like it was in your jean pocket for a while. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, not sure what the disposition for this knife is, but, you know, I got it in a trade, thought that I'd review it, and it is pretty cool. It's kind of unique. You really don't see too many of them or hear too much about it. So, you know, I felt lucky to be given the opportunity to take a third crack at a Hinderer. So we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in.